Thanks for checking out Chamber Web TV. This is Cambridge Votes 2014. We're having conversations with the candidates for the October 27th municipal election. I'm Brian Butcher. I'm Vice President here at the Chamber. And right now I'm very happy to sit down with Harmail Basi, a candidate in Ward 4. Harmail?
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Brian. It's always good to see you.
You too. Are you, everything's set, the die is cast, and you're ready to rock?
Absolutely.
Are you having fun yet?
I'm enjoying every moment of this opportunity to represent my Ward 8 and the citizens of Cambridge.
Good. You're talking to lots of people and
Very much
getting
so.
out there and getting some fresh air.
Absolutely.
Good.
And the weather's been wonderful.
Okay, Harmail, let me ask you, why are you running?
Well, to answer that question specifically, Brian, I'm running because I've been in the political space, certainly from the federal and the Ontario perspective for the last 20 years, ever since we came to Cambridge from BC. And I feel that I now have sufficient experience and the capacity, having run my consulting business for over 20 years, to really do something for this community, because I love this community dearly, and there's so much excitement just in the region in general, and my own local community.
It is certainly a great place to live. We're very lucky, aren't we?
Thank you.
Yeah, we certainly are. What would you say, from your point of view, is the biggest issue that faces Cambridge and perhaps all of the municipalities in Ontario?
Well, that's a good question, but I see the issues more in terms of the unique opportunities that we have in the city of Cambridge and in the region. Clearly the biggest issues right across Ontario and our country is sustaining the economy and growing the job base. But certainly we have some unique opportunities, and we're extremely well positioned here in the city of Cambridge and within the Waterloo region, because we've got a very strong educated workforce, we've got a very strong manufacturing base, and Cambridge, and I'd love to say this, our sister in Kitchener tops the list of real estate investment opportunities per the Real Estate Investment Network, which was just done in June.
Yep.
And some of the big reasons that they've quoted as being of great significance is the fact that we have one of the largest concentrations of post-secondary students wishing to reside here. The economy, in my opinion, based upon all the stats that I've been looking at, Brian, remains strong, with a solid average income and trained, stable job market with adequate labor force. And I would really like to build on this transformation of Cambridge and my ward that resides a significant number of the businesses. If you take my ward, which is the Ward 8, which I hope to represent, if you take that, then it really does have a very large, significant growing, and you can see the buildings coming up, just south of the 401 on Pine Bush, which is at the northern end of my ward, and Town Line to the east. A lot of development taking place there, and it's good to see the Portuguese club, the Sikh community, and now the Italian club all in a line. So it's becoming a truly international gateway to the eastern part of Cambridge.
Yeah, Ward 8 is a very diverse ward.
I think it's great.
You've got lots of booming residential,
I feel wonderful.
booming industrial, and booming commercial. With you represent like half of Hespa Road and
Yes.
all the commercial there. So
Yeah.
it's a very diverse ward for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of your ward, you've been out knocking on doors, talking to people. What do you see as the single biggest issue facing Ward 8 specifically?
Well, again, I'll come back to, I'm not comfortable with issues. I've seen that we've come a long way. But the issues that I'm seeing knocking on the doors, one is that the growth of Ward 8, Brian, has been one of the largest of all the wards in the city of Cambridge. But it's one of those things where the facilities, the infrastructure to support the ward hasn't necessarily caught up. So, for example, Ward 8 doesn't have a community centre per se or a rec centre. So you have to go to the Y or downtown Galt and places like that. So I mean it's coming, but certainly I believe that if I have the privilege to represent the Ward 8, that I will be a strong advocate with my colleagues at the table on council in order to ensure that that the facilities have caught up with the demographic changes that we've seen, certainly in the last 7 years in that particular group of subdivisions in Ward 8.
All right. The Chamber is always looking for people, candidates, business people, everybody with big, bold ideas. And we're asking our candidates, and I ask you this question, do you have any big, bold ideas for Cambridge?
I have a lot of dreams, Brian.
Where they start?
I definitely have a lot of dreams, but I don't necessarily want to share all of those dreams because it needs to be a solid foundation already exists in the city of Kitchener and our region, and bold ideas need to evolve. From my perspective, from the business perspective, it's a process. So for me, what is really important is that one of the things that I'd like to do, being on council, is consulting with local businesses. And like I've just said, Brian, there's a significant number of local businesses in my ward, and I'm sure that the other councillors, when they're elected, they will also share, consult with their local businesses as well. The institutions that produce some of the future entrepreneurs, coming out of Conestoga, out of Waterloo, and we know all about the startups there. And plus, let's not forget the great Cambridge and North Dumfries Chamber of Commerce, because this is the second largest Chamber of Commerce in Ontario. I don't think most people know that, but Greg and others I think you've got a fantastic set of governance, but you're not only the second largest, but you've also engaged with the city. I think, you work hand in hand. I mean, this visitor centre is a testament to the great work that the Chamber has been doing. So, I think you are part of the solution for these bold ideas.
Well, thank you, Harmail.
Okay.
That's why we brought you out today. We like to hear that.
I really appreciate the opportunity, but also, if you want specifics, Brian, I mean, one of the things that I've done is spoken to some of the folks at the city itself, particularly in the economic development, and so that everybody should be aware, we have the head of economic development here in the city of Cambridge actually has a master's in economic development. Now, how many cities can boast that? So, I just feel I was just so heartened to learn that. And one of the things that I'd like to do with, of course, my colleagues on council and the mayor, who I'm sure would be extremely supportive, is to have a dedicated incentive programs officer for businesses, because it is a big job, it's a complex job, and of course we need to benchmark against some of the best communities across the globe. And I think we're already at a very high base, and I would like us to move even further, and that is my, I guess it's a dream. It's a dream.
Well, speaking of dreams, we're going to go to the LRT now.
Of
and
course.
the LRT, as you probably know, the Chamber opposed the LRT as it's proposed, primarily because we aren't real happy with Cambridge paying for something that we're not really getting. We wanted to be area rated out of the project. That didn't happen. That battle has been waged and lost, so it's time to move forward. We're wondering if I'm wondering if you have any thoughts or ideas out of the box thinking that might help to move LRT forward more quickly than the possible decades before it gets here, or to improve our transit system in Cambridge through the LRT in the more immediate future, at any rate.
Well, I'm glad, with hindsight, I'm glad that the Chamber has recognized that, we need to move on. I mean, I think that's
Of course.
that's a very mature attitude. But certainly, I think the fact that it's important for us as the city of Cambridge, if we would like things to move faster, it's probably a better approach. Certainly, from my business sense, and process improvements in large industries such as the electricity sector, that we do sit at that table. If you're there, you know what's happening. You're in with the group, and the likelihood of things happening sooner rather than later is, in my opinion, extremely high. And I'll tell you why. Because I believe the economic base in this region is going gangbusters. Thanks to all the great work that the Chamber has done, the city has done, the region has done, the province has been doing, and of course the federal government has been doing. So, this is a showcase. That's why people are moving here.
Yeah. Moving here and coming here every day and leaving here every day takes us to go trains. The GO service, Kitchener has a GO service, has had for some time one train out in the morning, one train home at night. Long time to get there. The province, and more specifically the Premier, has promised them now two-way all-day GO, and that'll be coming to Kitchener apparently. Cambridge has been fighting for GO for decades. I was going to say centuries. It just seems like that.
Well, as you know, Brian, Lee Pervetsian has been a great
Long
advocate
time.
for I don't know how many decades that he's been going at this.
The Cambridge route, because they're different routes, is a quicker route and much more economical to bring up to speed. And yet here we are still waging that battle. Hopefully, somewhere down the road, that'll change. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on GO service to Cambridge.
Well, that road is not very far to get. That goal is not very far because, as you know, we now have Catherine McGarry, who was recently elected to the provincial legislature, and even more proud of the fact that she is the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Transportation. And the city has been doing some wonderful work on costing that link from Cambridge to Milton. And as an engineer, I'm really I need to understand this a little bit more. But the price range is anywhere from $15 million to maybe up to $70 or $80 million. So I need
that's
to sort
a narrow range.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
it's a pretty broad range. But the fact is, it's not in the league of the LRT or what Kitchener needs to do. So, I see the fact that we're sitting at the table. We've got an engaged MPP who's obviously engaged very closely with Minister Del Duca. I think that we may actually get an early Christmas present. I'm not going to say which year.
From your lips to Premier Wayne's ears. Where do you see Cambridge in 25 years, Harmail?
Now you're asking for dreams. Now you're asking for dreams. Now you're asking for dreams. 25 years from now, I would just, what I'm already seeing. I've been in Cambridge, a Cambridgetonian for 21 years now. And I would... This is, in my opinion, the best place. And what I'd like to do is accelerate the transformation of this vibrant city and region to a modern economy that can be sustained for generations to come. So my dream, I can only be a catalyst in a 4-year term, but certainly I would like to play my part in being able to create an economy that can be sustained for generations to come, Brian. So yes, that's my dream. And yes, we've got a changing demographic, so I certainly want to see a vibrant community. We're not just talking businesses, we're talking, the parks, the walkways, the dedicated bicycle routes that I know many of us are very keen on, active seniors. I'll be one of those very shortly, mind you, 10 more years.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait 10 years to get active senior. You realize, of course, that for the first time, Cambridge is going to allow online and telephone voting in this election. We're not the first municipality in Ontario to do it. It's been done before with great success. We are the first in the region to do it. We're the only one in the region doing it. I think that online and telephone voting has the potential to significantly change voter participation and perhaps shake things up a little, because I suspect the younger set will be more anxious to pull out their phone and vote than they were perhaps to go the old traditional route to the polls, which you can still do, of course. I'm wondering what you think about online and telephone voting.
Well, this is one of the areas where this council has been bold. The mayor has been bold. I mean, this is important to increase voter participation. I really like the fact that this council unanimously had voted for internet voting, and I think it's great. And my commitment is, in Ward 8, I said this to the mayor in no uncertain terms, I'm expecting at least a 50% turnout, 2 times more than ever before, and I'd like to get a significant chunk of that.
I certainly
6,500 votes.
Wouldn't we just love to see a 50% turnout all across the city? That would be fantastic. What a change that would be.
Thank you, Brian.
Just before we wrap up, would you like to say anything directly to the voters in Ward 8?
I'll be knocking on everybody's door in Ward 8, and I am keen to listen to your suggestions for a greater Ward 8. There are obviously very serious issues with congestion on Saginaw, which needs to be addressed, because I certainly do not want to see any child injured on those streets. So there are a number of things that can be done, and I would love to represent you on council in the city of Cambridge. Thank you.
And if you agree, you'll have your chance to vote this year online or by telephone, as we said, or of course you can go to the polls on October 27th. Online and telephone voting is open from October 11th to 25th. But please, whatever which way you choose to do it, take advantage of your great, fantastic opportunity and do cast your ballot. Thanks once again for tuning in to Chamber Web TV. And Harmail, thank you for being here today. I enjoyed very much talking to you.
Brian,
best of luck in the future.
Brian, thank you so much, and really thank the Chamber for this opportunity and for being the second largest chamber in all of Ontario.
Thank you.
Okay?
Love the plug. Thank you.